So EJ, we know this machine, the Ohm Run, is so universal, and we can do so many different things with it. And here at the Parisi Speed School, this has been a great way to train acceleration. It's been a great way to do backwards movements to create, ACL stability and, lower quad strength and whatnot. But you've done some incredible things with your clients, your patients. Bring us through some of the movements you do with this piece of equipment, why you do them, and how they benefit the patient.
Sure. So I guess we'll start with just an example of what we have over there, which is a sled. We're doing our version of a sled push. And the reason we like sled pulls and pushes is, again, we're looking at trying to stimulate those deep intrinsic muscles of the spine for spinal stability. So again, my goal would be to hand off to you one of my clients that is so spinally stable and strong that you can produce tons of power and speed with them, and you don't need to go backwards.
And that's where it all starts. I mean, I think, and Dr. Stuart McGill has proven this over and over with his 250 plus research studies. It all starts with the core being stable and the core being creating stiffness, so we can generate, obviously, distal speed, distal power with proximal stability.
And we talk about that energy leakages, right? So here's an example of, I'll show you what we don't want first, right? If someone steps in, they have a rounded shoulder, and they have energy leaking in their knee, and the machine is owning them, and they're not owning the machine, there's tons of energy going places that, and even on this excellent piece of machinery, they're still getting joint line stress. So again, starts with a big breath, activating the lungs and the core, leaning in, developing that tension. For this one, we'll stay on our toes, trying to get into hamstrings and glutes, driving forward, trying to produce as much power and stability as we can, and maintaining that form through a large range of motion.
Well, let me say a few things about this movement. That you do it because there's patients that you're trying to rehab and improve, but from a performance standpoint, this movement plays such a big role from an acceleration, because you have to stay stable by putting those arms out and the resistance being at the hand and going through your entire body.
Right.
That resistance is traveling through your entire body, and by being effective with this movement, you have to create tremendous stability, which the training effect on that movement is incredible, so much better than any other type of sled movement.
Right.
And you really can't do that with a sled, because you would eventually fall over.
Yeah.
It would be very hard.
And you certainly would never do this with your sled. You're going to take someone and you're going to challenge them, and we still have shoulder stability in a different manner. Mid-range, I could stop and try to find that balance again and get back into it. Always, my attention is here. My attention is here. I'm just trying to keep these stable.
It's incredible movement. Glute activation, core, shoulder stable ability. Again, you're getting 3 to 5 benefits with one motion, one exercise.
I would point out as well that when he's doing that movement, he's engaged, both arms extended, full isometric contraction with his arms, that he's then holding into his chest cavity down through his core.
Isometrically, all through.
He can have one elbow at a 90.
Yep.
Isometric contraction that he is determining the resistance of by his drive with his lower body, and his ability to modulate that and regulate what he can hold with his upper body through the force that he drives through his lower body. Highly complex.
Excellent movement.
So we have patients too, older gentleman, chronic knee pain, arthritic changes, plays a lot of tennis. For him to be on his toes and get that sheer force in his knees is sometimes aggravating. So he can do that same motion. He's flat footing, getting into his hips more, pressure off of the knee joint line, and still accomplish relatively the same motion without that same sort of stress.
Yep.
And
Incredible.
we do a series of exercises, say 5 in a row. We turn the body on, get those muscles to fire, and then we say, okay, if that, then what? So, well, let's change them around. And go the opposite.
Go backwards.
Right, we'll do the same thing. I'm gonna get that trust. And here's great, right? Because I need to find that stability. There's my lat engagement. My chest is up. I'm breathing between my shoulder blades. I'm not up here. I'm down here. And I'm driving, and I can sit low. And I can come up higher, but I'm always doing the same things. Abdominal muscles, shoulder blades, glutes, and breathing. And then back.
Incredible. I mean, the fact that now you're really firing the stabilization in the lower back, the rectors, everything is working, the quads, and balancing at the same time, the balance. I mean, I love the approach. What else do you have?
So our 600-meter sprinter with shoulder issues, because he drives so hard, how can we get him to work on those scapular stabilizers in a way that he's working endurance as well? So we'll actually have him up, walking on a tightrope, keeping those shoulders back and down, leaning back into the machine. That doesn't feel I'm producing an average of less than 10 watts, but to do this repeatedly is exhausting and not getting upper trap involvement.
Talk to us about, and this is incredible, talk to us about the difference opposed to standing there with tension, stationary, opposed to moving. How does that change the dynamics of the movement?
So, one, we can go by what it feels like. It feels like you have constant changes in the muscles, and that's your proprioception, right? As you're moving through time and space, there's far more proprioceptive input, and you have that same shoulder stabilization, right? Almost things moving and things staying stable in a functional manner.
Which is incredible, and I want people to understand that we'll do different posterior shoulder work to improve posture, open up the lungs, all these things, right? Because we're humans, we're like this, and technology, forces us to do this. And we have these fibroblasts that crawl throughout our body and, drop this web of collagen that get us really in a poor position. But the thing about that position and that exercise, what you did right there, by walking backward and maintaining resistance on that posterior shoulder girdle, the fact that you're on one leg, you're balancing, you're on one leg at a point in time, it changes the movement completely.
Yeah.
Opposed to being there with two or just doing a movement traditionally like this, you're stationary, but coming back on one leg, all the forces going through the muscles is completely different. And that's the secret. The secret to optimal health, optimal performance is attacking the muscle, the ligaments, the tendons, the connective tissue, the fascia from different angles in a safe, effective way. That's sport.
Yeah.
When we cut, when we move, it's maximizing that ability to train effectively, to create a holistic approach to our body to perform like that symphony.
Yeah. And you can take that same person, well, I guess I would say a different person that has shoulder impingement and they can't get above 90, but they can do that same thing at 90 degrees.
Yep.
I have a client that had a radial nerve impingement and it hurt him to have his arm behind. Every time you do that, he'd get a jolt. So it took a little combo of manual therapy and we would keep going back and retesting. And he's leaving tomorrow to go cycle through Japan for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So he had to make sure he could get his shoulder back under pain, that he had good core stabilization so he could be on his bike. So we do this with him. This was our outcome measure. Can you imagine this as an outcome measure in a gym or in a health clinic for a radial nerve impingement? Well, what's more functional than that? He can get low, drive with those legs, and have no pain and tension in his radial nerve.
Phenomenal. Let us just get some quick B-roll of each movement. I mean, just.
Hey, Bill, one of the things that's just interesting, just occurring to me now, is EJ was walking out, you were asking about what was different between that and something that's a weight-based. As he's walking, he's producing different levels of force.
Yeah.
So the variability in the force, if we were to look at that force profile, is doing this as
Absolutely.
he's walking.